This is a topic near and dear, I think, to all of our hearts. We hit on it a little bit in a conversation that we had about midlife and body image, weight, and all of those kinds of fun struggles, which leads to the midlife topic that everybody loves, menopause or perimenopause. So please, I know nothing about this. I am trying to educate myself personally. I have been ignoring it for quite some time, and pressure from several different people made me feel like maybe I should investigate this just so I'm educated about myself. I like to think that I know my body pretty well, but I do tend to default to, oh, this is just a normal part of life, or this isn't a big deal, or everybody goes through this. So my sister, the last time I went to visit her, threw a book in my suitcase and said, you have to read this book. And I poo-pooed it for a while. And I actually opened it up and I started to read it, and it was a tough read. So I put it down and I actually went and got the audiobook. And the audiobook for me is much easier to understand. Not a paid anything. We can talk about that in a minute, but I thought we could just talk about where we're at, what's happening. I am definitely in my 100% in my mid 40s, right smack dab in the middle. I'm not 40. I'm not 50. I'm just right in the middle waiting for life to happen.
Maybe we should give a disclaimer to our gentlemen listeners before we start diving into this. This is going to get a little deep.
A big thing is perimenopause and menopause. These words that are just been thrown around. Are they the same? Are they different? Do you guys have any idea? Where are you at on this? I'll throw it out there for you too.
I'm right there with you. I'm smack dead in the middle. So this is going to be a very interesting learning experience for sure. I didn't have anyone, I guess, per se, to kind of lean on at this age. I mean, I don't know if my mom went through this. She didn't appear to. So I don't have any sisters or biological sisters. I have great sister-in-laws, but I've not really, or I haven't even reached out to my aunts. This is all going to be very, very brand new to me. So at least I'll have some kind of experience, and then maybe pass this information down to my daughter before too long.
Godspeed, Rachel. Godspeed.
Yeah.
For me, I've passed the perimenopause, the menopause, but I think I'm still in the pause. Just when I thought I knew the answers or what worked for me, it's just not working. So I'm having to reevaluate things and learning from you ladies and other people, other women in my circle. So I'm still continuing to learn. And I think this conversation is not the first nor the last of it, because there are certainly many, many things to talk about.
As I mentioned, started reading this book. This is not the only book on the planet. This is not the Menopause Bible. I don't know this doctor from anything, although she is from Texas. So if you're a true and true Texan, you'll want to pick up this book. It's called The New Menopause by Dr. Mary Claire Haver, I believe. She's all over social media. She's all over the place. And like I said, I found the audiobook super helpful. I am not a practitioner. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a PA, although I did play one on TV for several years. I did work in healthcare for a long time with some great providers all across the board. And so this book is, I would say my definition of it is she really did try to dummy down some of the medical terms and kind of explain the rhymes and reasons of how healthcare has evolved, how women's healthcare has evolved. She gives a lot of great references. To me, I guess I was just in a place to receive the information, and I hadn't been there in the last several years. But the one thing I learned, getting back on topic, is perimenopause is the entire time and transition that your body goes through. Again, this is the Dana definition. Please don't quote me. Please don't tell me I'm wrong. Just my definition after information gathering. Perimenopause is the entire time, a year, 5 years, 10 years, that your body is transitioning until you hit menopause. And menopause is the time where you are no longer menstruating or having your period. So that could last, a year or several years. Sometimes you don't even know it. So that's fun. So congratulations. We are in the perimenopause club, which leads me, I've sent this to you girls, to one of my favorite social media followers. Okay, my son is in the background waving. He really wants to be a part of this, and I told him no. So say hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi.
He doesn't want to join. He doesn't want to join the pause conversation.
I told him he couldn't, and he really wanted to, as a person living in the house with somebody who's perimenopausal. And I was like, you're out. I don't care about your opinion. One of my favorite people that I follow on the Insta, as we like to call it, is a woman who created her version of We Just Don't Care. We are in midlife, we are in perimenopause, and we just don't care. Hilarious. highly suggest it is Just Being Melanie is the person. And she like hits home every time she says something, right? She can't remember anything. She's got 8 pairs of glasses, got to write everything down. Really, really funny. So that being said, anything to add to that? Is that news to you guys? I did kind of put this in perspective. I remember my mom saying she was, air quote, going through menopause, but I really think that that was the whole process, like the whole perimenopause into menopause. So I think what is happening today is we have access to so much information and we are more educated. And I think as individuals and as women, we're going out there and trying to find our own answers and not just relying on our healthcare providers, although they are a great wealth of information, but also kind of finding this in our community. And one thing I remember specifically, this might be a whole nother topic though, taking hormones, not taking hormones, when to take them, when not to take them, what that means. And I just feel like, even though I'm in my mid-40s, it just seemed like menopause was something that happened to old people. How am I in this phase of life? I'm not old, I don't feel like. I do remember my mom going through it. I do remember that she just had a lot of hot flashes, like a lot. And she chose not to do any hormones. And that was kind of the trend for a long time. I will tell you, if you pick up this book, The New Menopause, she is very pro gathering your own information and being your own advocate. And she, in her practice, is very pro hormone replacement if that is a route that you want to go down. But I'm curious, Rachel and or Sheila, what kind of symptoms do you feel like you might be having? Just random. And I'm happy to share because I'm an oversharer, but I'll let you guys go first.
So I do write everything down. I'm still a paper pen kind of person.
Good for
So if
you.
I don't, but I'm also very reliant on my phone. So if it's not in my phone as a reminder, and the kids will tell you, put it in your phone because you'll forget. And sure enough, I will. And even now, taking notes, I like to shorthand previously. I'm like, dang, what did I mean by that? And it's hard for me to go back even a week to go,
Yeah.
what did I mean by that? So I'm learning now to have to really fully write out my notes because shorthand is no longer working for myself. I do think I'm experiencing some perimenopause symptoms, getting hot all of a sudden in the middle of the night, waking me up hot.
Not
and
hot, like a complete meltdown.
Like, what is going on? Kicking off the
Yes.
covers, like, this is crazy, feeling like I'm on fire. And I'm
Yes.
looking over at my husband who is sound asleep, going, not a stir in the world. And then
I
you get
feel you, sister.
that rage, like, oh, you man.
Oh gosh,
Just want to
that's
kick
funny.
you at this point so you can feel the pain that I'm going through. And I
Right.
know this isn't the worst of it, right? So I can remember my mother-in-law and going for visits, and it was freezing in that house. And we knew if we were going to stay over to take your long pajamas and your long sleeves, because we knew grandma was going to be freezing. And her husband, love his heart, he was just like, I just deal with it, man. So-
Oh, what a good soul.
yes.
What a
And
good
so
soul.
I'm really hoping my hubby will be the same, but I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is it, isn't it? What comes next? I don't know. Like I said, this is all still brand new to me. So I don't know what comes next. But I have heard about the hormone supplements. Take them, don't take them. I think I'll probably be more on the don't take just because I've always taken a more natural, if there's something else outside of a medication that I can do. And people did this. I mean, women did this many years previous to even being medicine prone. So that's kind of the path I think I'm definitely going to be exploring a lot of. Now, apparently, I still need to do a lot more research into it. What are some of the more natural home remedy solutions? Most definitely. I will probably weigh more on the side of not taking anything medication wise, if at all possible. So that's just my point of view.
The change.
Right. This is most definitely a big change. So I'm a couple of years beyond you girls. I am in menopause, and I did opt to take the hormones in form of a pill. And over the years, I thought it was helping. And then just most recently, I'm making some changes to that because I'm finding it a little bit more difficult to cope with. My goodness, the hot flashes. They are a challenge for me. And not just because of the city that we live in, right? And the heat that's here, but just
Well, it is
sitting.
3,000 degrees outside already.
Yeah, so
Guys,
that
it was
doesn't help.
100 yesterday.
Is that
100
right?
degrees.
Oh, I
Yes.
felt it for sure. But if I'm sitting in my office and our offices are cold, our suite runs pretty cold, and a fan that's running, and I am still hot. So that's one of the things that I struggle with. And in fact, instead of the pills, instead of pill form, I'm opting to try a patch and have heard some things about that. And so I'm looking forward to trying that out. For me, hot flashes are a big deal. Mood swings, my family will attest to. Um, and
I
also
can
being
neither confirm nor deny that for
my
myself right
goodness,
now.
and being forgetful as I try to find my words right now, either finding the words or not remembering things my family told me, missing an appointment, things like that. So I have to be even more mindful of what's happening.
Yes to all of those things. Actually, in reading this book, she lists out all these things. And I'm like, these are so dumb. Who has this? But brain fog, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I have this panic every time I leave the house if I left the stove on. What is wrong with me? I don't even use the stove sometimes in the morning, but when I do, I'll sit in my car and I'll be like, huh, what if I turn the stove off after I cooked whatever? And it's the weirdest thing. Or constantly like doing something and then getting distracted by something else and not remembering like what I was supposed to do, or just a walk from, I don't know, down the hall to my office sometimes, like, oh, don't forget to do this. And I'll sit down and I just can't pull that task up. Hot flashes for sure. I will say, Rachel, you have mentioned this several times, and I have not had any for quite some time. And I do feel like I'm having some sympathy hot flashes for you at night. So you're
Oh
welcome
no.
for reminding me of that. Not so bad though. I don't get them too much, to be quite honest. So that is good. But brain fog for sure. Emotional, yes, always. I mean, I'm just an emotional person, so par for the course. But here's a weird one. Crawling sensation in your skin. Yes. Okay. The
Oh.
weirdest thing, whenever I'm standing towards the end of the day, like cooking dinner or washing dishes, I always feel like there's a little bug crawling on me. And I'll be like, oh, because I'm just like standing under the sink and my feet are under there. So I assume it's like, we got a lot of bugs here, people. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
bugs. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's just a little baby spider. There's nothing there. And I totally thought I was going crazy. And then I read this list and I felt a tad bit better that maybe I'm not too crazy. I mean, I could be, but I'm not. And then another weird one that I saw in here, definitely sleep disturbances. There have been nights that, you guys, I have watched like 2 movies, full movies, all alone. I'll wake up and I'll crawl out of my bed into the guest bedroom so I don't wake the hubs. And I'm like wide awake. And I cannot. I take my sleep gummies. I'm like, you got to go to sleep. You got to work. Wide awake. The worst. I don't know. It's probably up there with hot flashes. I don't know what's worse, having a hot flash or being wide awake at 3 a.m. knowing you have to get up in 3 hours. Terrible. And then another weird one. You guys are going to know way too much about me. Itchy ears. What the heck?
Yes, I have that too.
It's the weirdest thing, Rachel. I'm always like, my ears itch so bad. And for a while, I just chalked it up to allergies because this is apparently the allergy capital of Texas. That could be one. And so kind of basically what I've learned is every weird thing that's happened to me could be menopause or perimenopause, or it could not. We don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Well,
you
it's
need
funny
something
you
to blame,
mentioned, yeah. So I did wake up this past weekend. I was like dead tired. And Friday night, Saturday morning, I am like wide eyed, 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, what is going on? What is going on? And so I stayed up. I tried to go back to sleep. I had audiobook going. I had breakfast. I let the dog out. I gave her
Mm-hmm.
breakfast. And then I was finally like, okay, I think I'll go lay back down now. Took maybe a 30-minute nap and I was up and ready. I was like, okay, let's go.
yeah.
Like, this is crazy. I knew I was dead tired and I crashed Friday night knowing I was dead tired. I think this is so weird.
It's bizarre. So I'm sure there's more fun to come. Sounds like it. So
Gosh.
I wanted to put out there, I mentioned a book and social media that I like to follow. If there's anything that you guys have, and maybe amongst ourselves, if we want to do a little book club and then we can talk about different books that we've read or different gathering of information. I think it's really interesting because I believe wholeheartedly that we're all going to have similar symptoms and different symptoms. And, we're all different anyways. Do you remember when we were young and having babies and everyone was like, pregnancy's going to be like this and and raising your kids is going to be like this, and, have a birth plan and it's going to be like this. But what I learned after I had my child was that's great information to just have, but everybody's so different. Bodies are different, how we recover and all of those things. So I feel like this is the same thing. We all might go a different route and we might share things that we never thought about, symptoms that you might have discounted Rachel and Sheila's like, oh no, I had that. So, and I know we're not the only people. I'm on social media. I know we're not the only
No,
people.
we are certainly not the only people. And that's a good idea to have some resources on hand. And again, this is something that you have found really helpful, Dana, and I think other folks would too. We do have an Instagram account at Pause Please, and so we can certainly list those resources that we've found useful for us, and people can take that as they may. I happen to
leave your comments. I mean, we'll take all information, but be kind. Just say it with a smiley face, and it'll be okay.
That's right. Part of my menopause journey includes weight gain.
I didn't say that one. 100%.
Right. Changes to our body, obviously, in other ways. And so I was just made aware of a book called Menopause Metabolism, and I haven't picked it up yet. I can't say who the author is, but we can certainly list that on the gram. That is a discussion on how our body is changing. So menopause metabolism, that's something that I would like to look into as well.
I would love to dive into that one a little bit more. I got a lot of opinions about that.
One book that I did get recommended from my great massage therapist, who's also kind of in our boat. She was given a book called The Red Tent. And this is more The Red Tent. I'll post also on our Insta. But we were talking about it one day, and she and I are kind of more on, again, more of the natural, biblical kind of mind being, right? Something has occurred here previously, centuries before us, that probably can explain all of this. So I've yet to dive into this book, but I definitely want to kind of give that one a read, along with another one that she was given called State of Wonder. So I'm very interested. And again, I'm a book lover, so I love to read or even have it on audio now, which I've learned to also like, because I can kind of follow along. As long as it's not so monotony, I can definitely kind of imagine what they're talking about. But I want to throw those out there as well, just because like you said, there's so many resources available in this area from previous women who either have experienced it or going through it, or, information was passed down to them previously. So we want to keep that door kind of it's a swinging door right now, especially for Dana and I.
Well, there's also a lot of misinformation. And I think that is a takeaway from this book I'm reading. From my perspective, having worked in healthcare for so long, I tend to lean towards that way. And I feel like my radar is pretty good about who's kooky and who's not. Just kind of in my morals and values and where I stand. And I think that that's it. There's actually not a lot of information about this. It's hard to kind of figure out where to gather the information based on what our beliefs are and what we feel is right for our own bodies. I think what has kind of kept me from doing my own research is that we have access to so much information that I don't want to go down a rabbit hole and totally buy into something and find out that it really has no benefit. It's just somebody trying to make money, or it's just their opinion. It's not evidence-based. I tend to lean more towards an evidence, scientific-based, whatever it is. So I think this will be fun. Maybe we should each pick a book, and then, we'll read them and go through them every couple of weeks and kind of talk about it, because this is going to be a long process.
It is. I like that idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm open to always learning and finding ways that we can help each other. Besides the books, we've also talked with this group about MIDI Health, which gives women access to trained practitioners talking about perimenopause, menopause. And again, this is not something, we're not sponsored by any of these authors or MIDI Health. This is just something that we've talked about among ourselves and are learning more about. And so I actually had an appointment just this morning with a clinician with MIDI Health. Found it very useful. We pride ourselves in staying healthy. We subscribe to, seeing our general practitioners on a regular basis, but my questions just were not being answered, or I didn't know what the right questions may have been. So I'm hoping that connecting with somebody through MIDI Health will give me some relief.
Sheila, I have a bunch of questions, and you can choose not to answer them, but may I ask you a couple questions about your experience?
Yes, for sure.
Do you want to kind of talk share what it was about. I haven't seen them, but my sister has and had a really, really, really positive experience. And so I'm curious how you felt about that, if you felt heard, in what ways did they make you feel heard? And then how do you feel about using them to focus on this one thing in conjunction with also going to a primary care provider? Do they encourage that? Are they supporting you to say, yes, keep doing X, Y, and Z with your current, and then we'll help you? Like, kind of how does it work, I guess, is my question.
So I had first checked them out online and made an appointment. Super easy to navigate through the website and very easy to make an appointment. And it takes a couple of days to process only because if you've got insurance, they want to make certain that it's covered or what kind of coverage you have, whether or not they work with your particular insurance company. For my situation, I happen to be covered. So this morning I had an appointment. It was with a nurse practitioner. Prior to the appointment, I had filled out a questionnaire and it asked me about my health background, what medication I was taking. And so when I talked with a person, she covered all those things. I did find it really helpful because I did feel heard. She happened to be someone who was about the same age, if not a few years older, had experienced some of the things that I had on my list of topics for discussion, and appreciated that she was so open. If I'm talking to my general practitioner, who, by the way, is just fine, happens to be a male, how does he know exactly how I'm feeling? He may know it because he read it in a textbook or what have you. But it was really comforting to talk with her. She was knowledgeable. She explained everything to me, including medications and offering me other resources. I definitely will connect with her again and would like to continue using MIDI.
That sounds great. And that sounds right in the line of what I've heard other people say. So what a great resource for anybody who's struggling. And it sounds like that is an obstacle for a lot of women out there. Dr. Haver talks about it. I have talked to you, Sheila, and other people that have felt like, I just don't feel heard. I can't get in to see anybody. And when I do, they sort of blow me off, which I think is not uncommon. So what a great resource. I can't wait to kind of walk through this with you or beside you, I guess, to say, and see how it goes.
I'm happy to discuss it with you ladies. And, should we want to talk about it in more detail here, certainly I would recommend it. Like I said, it's a resource out there for you. It's easy to navigate through, and I think that you will feel heard.
That's awesome.
Was
That's great.
was the person like of our age? Were they a little older,
Well,
younger?
she happened to be about my age, right? In early to mid 50s, I would say. We had talked about hormone replacement, and I had questions, and she answered it from a clinician's background, but also as a woman who had experienced these things herself. And that's what I really found comforting. And I thought she was funny, as if though I was just talking with a friend on the phone. So I really appreciated her candor.
I love
That's
that.
good.
It's my understanding that MIDI Health is geared towards women healthcare, women in all stages of life, solely focused on things that we go through. We put our bodies through a lot. My body has been good to me, generally speaking. We grew a human, so that's pretty cool. And overall, I think that I'm a pretty healthy person. It sounds like you guys are pretty healthy people. There's, things that we all go through that are very personal that maybe we don't want to share with everybody, even with our friends sometimes. It's too much, whether it's, history or concern, symptoms in your family or history of things, or you may not even, be a person that's comfortable sharing those things. So I am definitely an advocate and pro to find a provider in an environment where you feel heard. As somebody who's worked in healthcare for a long time, not everybody may agree with this, but to be honest, physicians, they work so hard and they're all overworked. And to be honest, I don't think they take it personally. If you're not a good fit, it probably goes both ways. I've heard from a lot of people that are like, I don't want to hurt my doctor's feelings. And for somebody who worked in that environment, I'm like, yeah, you're not. They don't. I mean, they care. Hopefully 99% of the doctors and providers that are out there are there because they want to take care of people, but there's a whole nother side, right? And sometimes they don't, they're trying to meet other metrics and other requirements, and they don't always have the time we need sometimes when we're going through things like this. So I love that you found somebody, Sheila, and I hope that you can cultivate that relationship. For sure.
Thank you.
For sure.
I appreciate that you said that, Dana, that if you don't feel that you're connecting with your provider, that you can certainly go and seek other people. You're not tied to that one person, whatever your needs may be. And throughout our life, our needs are going to change. And so if you do feel that there's somebody else out there who can help you, then seek that out. You don't have to stay with your current person.
Absolutely.
For
Well,
sure.
On a lighter note, I tend to get most of my facts from Instagram, and I follow people who are going through menopause. So I don't know how medical savvy that is, but it seems to make me feel very validated in the way that I feel.
Hey, Dr. Google, yes.
Not even that, just other women who are feeling empowered to go out on social media and just post hilarious things. I mean, I think they're funny. I don't know if anybody else does, but I don't take it as downplaying any of the things that we're going through, but it's just weird. I don't know how to describe it if you're not going through these things, these symptoms. It's unease, it's, restless nights, it's hot flashes, it's feeling super emotional and then not really understanding why and thinking about it 3 days later and going, oh, maybe I overreacted to that.
No, you did not overreact. It can be so frustrating, and it's okay to laugh about it. It's okay to laugh about ourselves because, boy, I have to. It's shit. There I go again. Oh, I know.
Well,
I know. We need to normalize talking about this and how we're feeling.
I agree. I'm really interested once we all read this new menopause book, Rachel, because I sort of thought maybe I'd want to be more holistic about this. And after reading this book, I'm like, ooh, I don't know about that. I think there might be some things I've changed. So I'd be really curious just to get your perspective on that. And then one of the things that I found super interesting was the perception of hormone replacement and if it's good or bad and why those came around. Again, this is just one doctor's opinion. It made sense to me. I tend to agree with what she's saying, but it's not something that you have to start right away, but some of the benefits, you may not need all of that during perimenopause, but once you hit that place where you're actually in menopause, the benefits that it could have to you, based on a lot of other testing and things that are happening, I found was really, really interesting. The changes that our body goes through more on the scientific side and what decreases and how we make sure that we don't lose some of those important hormones that have gotten our body to this stage of life. It kind of made me feel like, well, I guess I'm just, going to go out to pasture now because everything is a perimenopausal symptom and it just gets worse and there's nothing you can do about it. It's been nice knowing you guys.
I'm going to be one with the earth here.
God, it was a little depressing, looking at all the symptoms that something could or couldn't be and all this stuff. So it's just, anyways, I'm really interested to hear what you guys think and how we go through it. And like I said, Sheila, I may not be in that place yet, but I'm happy to walk alongside you.
And I'll be on the other side.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll put you in the middle and we're going to be on the sides and you're going to be, still our leader. We're just going to be a little ahead of us.
I don't really want to keep the hot flashes. That I could pass with.
I could certainly use that support. Thank you, ladies.
This is a topic, not a conversation. Well, both, that I think should just be ongoing. Maybe it's something we do once a month. Maybe it's something we do every couple weeks. But guess what, people? We're going to be in this, apparently, according to the information that I've read, Rachel and I, for a long time. Sheila, apparently, for the rest of her life. So here we go. We'll just pop in some tidbits as we see fit. And then we will discuss, I think, the book. I've suggested this one, The New Menopause. I like the idea of the menopause metabolism book. And then maybe the red tent from you, Rachel. And we'll have a book club and we'll do a little recap here every couple weeks as we go through these. Sound good?
I like that.
I like that.
All right, ladies. Well, thank you for being open and transparent. Oh, I can't wait to share more of my symptoms. Apparently, there's much more I might have in the course of the rest of my life.
And just to reiterate, our Instagram at Pause Please, but it's PAUSEPLEAS3 instead of
the number 3.
The 3, yes. That's our Instagram. So yes.
Yeah, leave us some comments. I'd love to hear what other people are going through, especially if you have that weird tingling feeling. I just want to know I'm not the only person that feels like bugs are crawling up your leg.
Well, pause, please. Till next time.